Good morning, moms of teens and tweens. So this is your friend Paige here, and it's time for another live video. And today we're going to interview my friend Gena Duran. She's got four grown, I don't even know how many children. I'm like totally drawing a blank on your children right now. Four grown children, a bunch of grandchildren, and she's living in Nashville area of Tennessee. So she's going to join me in just a second. I'm going to prop up my phone a little bit more, and as soon as she gets on here, we'll join the live broadcast. So I've got a series of questions for Gena today, and I'm excited to learn from her. She's been a dear friend of mine for a long time. We met actually, I think at like a Bible study is when I first met her. And our lives keep crossing paths ever since. So she's been a huge blessing to me, and I can't wait for you to meet Gena here on the broadcast. So give me just a second to get her on here and loaded up, and then we'll get started. So if you're watching the replay, feel free if throughout the replay that you ask any questions that you might have of Gena. So we'll go back and comment on any questions that you might have whenever you were able to watch this. But if you're watching live, of course, pop on here and let me know that you're here anytime. So let's see who we have. Hi Danielle, how are you? I'm so glad you're watching. As you pop on here, let me know that you're here. I'm going to send Gena a quick message and let her know that I'm in the group. We just practiced in another group. So, hopefully she'll pop on here and it won't take super long or anything like that. So, hello Karen. Let's see if Facebook is kind of acting a little funky here. Thank y'all for joining me, whoever's joining live. Hi, Karen. Hope you're doing good. And Gena will hopefully pop on here in just a second. I wish Facebook sometime would tell me like who is on here. It just tells me like the little eyes. So, and if you're watching this on YouTube later on, never mind the little technical difficulties at the very beginning. But we're going to learn a lot from Gena today. Sorry, the broadcast was interrupted real quick. I'm trying to get Gena on here, and thank y'all for bearing with me. All right, Gena, I don't see you here. I see that you've liked the live video, but you're not here in the broadcast. So there we go. Now I'm going to add you on. I think it's going to work now for us. Yay. It says it's adding Gena. Give her. Yeah, we got it to work. Awesome. Yay. I'm so glad we got this figured out. Welcome.
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Okay, Gena. So I know you, of course, but not everybody that's going to watch this video knows you. So introduce yourself. Tell me how long you've been a mom and about your kids and grandkids, all that kind of stuff. Give us the rundown.
All right. My name is Gena Duran, and I am the mother of four. I have a 37-year-old, a 36-year-old, a 27-year-old, and a 22-year-old. Is Nathaniel 27? Nathaniel's 26 or 27, and I have five grandsons, 15, 13, 4, 3, and 1. So I have lots of boys.
You are a boy grandmom for sure.
Yeah, lots of boys, yeah.
Maybe Jessica, maybe we'll bring you some girls, or who knows if Alex.
I'm still voting, come on.
Yeah, you can.
I already have clothes. Right. I've already bought clothes for my granddaughter, so.
Well, there you go. You are just decreeing and declaring her into this world for sure. So, all right. Well, Gena, where do you live currently?
I just moved to Tennessee. I've been here about 3.5 weeks, and it's an exciting journey. I'm staying with some very dear friends of mine, Cynthia and John Stone, who have graciously opened their house to me. And I'm waiting to see where God lands me. So we'll see.
It's so exciting. You're on a new adventure.
Yeah, I'm always on an adventure.
I know. Gena goes on the most amazing adventures. We'd have to do a whole nother show on to get down to basics of all those adventures and all the places.
If you want to know about that, go to Gena's Jewels. I'm a writer, so there's a blog, and
yes,
you can follow the whole crazy adventure on there.
Hold on, let me share that. GenaJewels.com.
Yeah. It's
Gene?
actually a blog spot, but they can go on Facebook and put in Gena's Jewels and they would find it.
Okay, I'll find the link on Facebook and I'll share it
Yeah.
here. I'll delete what I just put on there and then I'll share the link to your actual Facebook page so that they can connect with you. We're going to cover that.
Okay.
So, all right, Gena, well, let's get started. So,
Okay.
my first my first question, I sent Gena these questions earlier. So, my first question is, what is your favorite memory of parenting your teens?
That was a fun question. And I have four, so I had to really think about it. And the story I'm going to share with you was when Nathaniel was in high school. He's my third child. So
Okay.
Anthony is my oldest, and he's about 10 years older. So Anthony and Amanda, 10 and 9 years older. Nathaniel's in high school, and we were dealing with a bully. And so these boys it was whole planned, they were gonna beat him up on his way home from school. So we found this out, the night before. He tells me, and of course, as any good mother, I'm panicking and, want to go beat these kids up and do the right thing.
Uh-huh.
And so Anthony's telling me, Mom, you got to let him work this out. You can't get involved. They'll
Right.
pick on him forever. So I'm just like, okay. But of course, I'm a mom. That's okay is not my real
Yeah.
answer. So the
Right.
day of the event, Nathaniel's going to be walking home from school, and I knew which roads he walked on. So I drove my car and pulled into this random house and asked this lady if I could hide in her bushes and park my car in her garage so I could watch Nathaniel. So if he needed me, I could jump in. So here I am
Uh-huh.
hiding in the bushes, watching for him, and my phone rings, and it's my son Anthony. Well, he's in his car 2 blocks away. And he's like, I just want you to know, I'm around the block. And I'm like, oh, what happened to? We got to just let him do his own thing. And, he's got to be a
Yeah.
man. He goes, yeah, well, I just figured he needed backup. And I hang up with him. My phone rings and it's Amanda. Mom, what street does he walk down? And they, of course, both drive. And so she's like, I'm on this road. And I'm just laughing. And then here I see Nathaniel coming up the street and I go, I spotted the eagle. I've spotted the eagle. I gotta go. So that is probably one of my funnest memories. And nothing ever happened. He was fine. He walked home and didn't know until he was married with children that event actually happened. We
That
never
is
told him.
that was stealth for sure. Like I can't believe you guys all. Hey, you know what? That's what family's for, though. You got each other's
Yes.
back.
And
That's
we didn't want
awesome.
to rock his confidence by him thinking that we didn't think he could handle it, which is why we never
Right.
told him. So, but of course we didn't think he could handle it.
I love it. That's a great memory. That's a great
I
memory.
for,
Okay, so
yeah, I forgot
my
about that. So that was fun.
that is a good story. I bet y'all got some good laughs out of that one when you finally told him.
Yeah.
So very good. Okay, so my next question is, what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments that you ever made in your teens?
That one is easy, and it's time. And I'm sure every mom that you've asked that has told you that it really is about time. And as a single mom, it can be hard when you're working a full-time job and you have kids in sports and you're running around all the time. But spending time with them is so important. And I will tell you that when they're older, at least
Mhm.
my kids, when they were like in 11th grade or 12th grade, when they would really talk to you, because they don't like you when they're in 11th and 12th grade most of the times. So when they
Uh-huh.
actually would speak to you is when they would come home at night, like if their curfew was 11:30. And I would make myself be awake when they came home, because then when they came in my room, to check in, say I'm home, I would say, well, how'd your night go? That would be the
Uh-huh.
time that they would actually sit on the bed with me and start talking to me about their world. So
Right.
definitely. And
That's
I was
awesome.
tired. I had to get up for work early. I'm juggling 4 kids and everything that goes with it, but that's a
Yeah.
great investment.
Oh, I think that's so true. I remember I've probably shared this in other broadcasts, but I have had a friend that she had three girls, and I did her nails, and her girls would call and tell her everything. And I asked her, "How did you get that
Yeah.
relationship with your girls?" And she's like, "Kids, girls especially don't like to talk till after midnight. So every
Yeah.
evening, she'd plop herself in their room, or they'd come to her room, and she's like,
Yeah.
I didn't want to stay awake, and I'm like." That's me. I don't want to stay awake any longer, but
Right.
it's true. That's when they want to talk. So,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. So my kids are at camp this week, but I'm going to be doing that a lot more when they get home. Just go plop
Definitely.
myself in their room so that they'll talk. So,
Yeah.
okay, my next question for you is what failure or apparent failure in parenting taught you the most? And if you could, you would use it to teach others. Do you have like a
That
favorite failure?
I had to think about that one for a while, but actually, the failure would be sometimes we give our kids too much rope. Like sometimes we feel like, they have the right to make a choice. And there are
Uh-huh.
certain times when they need you to make the choice. They need you to make the decision because it's too big for them. And I found out later on from some of the things that they shared, there were moments that I was like, trying to be the good parent. Well, how do you feel and what do you
Yeah.
want to do? And I found out later that they needed me to decide that. And I'll give you an example that isn't the depth of the
Yeah,
one I'm talking about. But
yes.
an example is like, let's say your kids are being asked to go with a group of kids somewhere and they don't really want to go.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the courage to say no. Let you be the bad guy. Just say, no, you can't go,
Yeah,
and let them say, oh, I want to go, but my mom, she's such a pain. She won't let me go, da, 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 da. So that's an
right.
example, but it can be a lot deeper than that. And so make hard decisions for them. Some don't just always think you're doing the right thing by letting them make decisions all the time.
Right. That is so good. Oh, did I lose you for a second, Gina?
Sorry,
There you
hold
go.
on.
You're
I
back
might
now.
get rid of that. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No, I think that is some great advice because they are overwhelmed. I mean, it's hard enough for I think us as adults to make decisions, let
Yeah,
alone a child trying to figure out, I don't want to disappoint my parents or I don't want to disappoint my friends. I don't know what to do. And I know for me,
yeah,
sometimes I'm like, I just wish somebody else would make the
yeah.
decision for me because it's too
And
tough or
I'm
you
going
don't
to
have clarity.
say this especially to parents that are single parents. If you're in a divorce and your kids have stay with you sometimes and the other parent sometimes, and that's an area where you have to don't always be so quick to just let them make a decision because you don't want to be the bad parent or you don't want to withhold them from things.
Uh-huh.
In that area, it can be tough, but I don't know. Think
Stick.
about it a little more, pray about it a little more before
Sure.
you know,
Yeah, before you just let them go do whatever they want,
yeah,
whatever they want.
yeah,
So that's perfect. Good. Thanks, Gina. Okay, my next one is what is a tradition that you had with your kids as teens? Did you have any
yeah.
traditions?
We had a tradition, and this you have to be very brave for. Sit down, okay? That's what I'm telling you right
Okay.
now. Sit down. We had amnesty night. And you have to understand, my two oldest teens were 13 months apart, and they were terrible. They were the bad kids. They were the kids that you didn't let your kids hang around with, okay? My other two were much better, but the first two, I used to say they're trying to kill me, But amnesty night is
Yeah.
when you sit down with them and they can tell you anything they want and not get in trouble. And I started this because I was trying to find out what they were up to, because they were partners in crime, and sometimes I wasn't sure what was happening. So
Okay.
I started with explaining what we would do, and then I told them something about my life that they didn't know from when I was a teen. And of course, I was strategic about
Love
what I
that.
told them. And so
Yeah.
then they could tell me something, but you have to be ready because they tell you some pretty heavy stuff, and you can't go like, oh, you know what I mean, or I'm gonna kill you.
Right.
So, and it caught on so much that they would bring friends over and say, Mom, can we have
I
amnesty night? And I'm just like, have you lost your mind? I can barely handle your amnesty. But, these teens were so desperate to have someone to talk to and to share something with. And it opened a discussion table of, now, my kids were bad. So I'm just telling you.
Right.
But amnesty night, I would totally recommend.
Oh, I'm stealing that one. I'm so glad
Yeah,
you shared
feel
that.
free. Yeah.
That is some great wisdom right there. I'm totally doing that. I'm so glad you shared. I would have never even thought of that. Oh, see, that's
Yeah.
why I
That
do
must
these
have been
things.
the Holy Spirit.
Yes, I love that. I mean, because it's true, because we all, I mean, I don't know, I think we all could probably benefit from some
Yeah.
amnesty nights.
Yeah.
But kids especially. Oh, I'm stealing that one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
So
welcome.
my next question is, how did you handle sibling relationships and are your kids close with each other today?
My kids are thick as thieves. All four of them are extremely close. They do life together. And I will, for me, what I had one
How did
rule.
you cultivate that?
My children were never allowed to say, I hate you, ever, ever,
So
and
good. Yeah.
ever. So they could be mad, they could fight, they could yell and scream, they could be tumbling on the floor, beating each other up, but they were not allowed to say, I hate you. And I really think that
Uh-huh.
that was a huge piece in their lives together because everybody gets mad, you know what I'm saying? But I hate you is
Yeah.
so toxic and it
Right.
wounds so deeply. And they just were not, if they, and I'm not, they did sometimes, of course, it would slip out
Right.
and I would jump right in. Or I would even hear them later, you're not allowed to say that. Like, and the other, they would immediately apologize. Like,
Right.
it was a
So
capital
how
punishment.
did your kids want to do things together? Because like one of our struggles right now is my third child does not want to hang around with the fourth child. And number two child doesn't always want to hang out with number three and four. So how did you handle situations like that? Like we have a birthday coming up for one of the kids and they're like, I don't want them there. It's they always steal my friends.
Yeah,
And I'm like, well, sorry, you're part of a four kid family. Like it's not one and
yeah.
done kind of thing. So how did you handle
Well,
their relations?
I would do both. They could, the whole family together did birthday, and then they did get their time alone with their friends, even if it was the same night. They did get
Okay.
their alone time. So I definitely separated that because that's a valid thing, and I think
Yeah.
it helps them stay getting along better if the other sibling doesn't always have to be there. It was hard for
Right.
Anthony and Amanda also because they had a lot of the same friends because they both played soccer. They were different
Right.
though. They really, really got along. I would have to go back to Nathaniel and Jessica because there was a little bit of an age difference there,
Uh,
4 or 5 years. And there were times he did not want his sister around. And so
yeah.
if it was a family event first, we were the family. And then it was like, Jess, you need to leave them alone.
Yeah, you can go do what you want to do. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to work out is saying, as a family, we're going to do this, and then I will
Yeah.
schedule some time for you to just go with your friends and be away from your little siblings. So, all right. Well, what
But just
advice would you?
real quick on
Oh, go
that,
ahead.
I do want to just go back on that for one thing is they had to, if there was a soccer game, if there was an event that was important to a kid, whether they wanted to go or not, everybody went.
Everybody went.
That was a
Okay.
tough it up.
Yeah,
Yeah. Tough it up.
we have been doing that with the little girls. They started taking dance, and I'm like, they have had to go to every basketball and softball and baseball game and football
Right.
game. You got to go to the
You're
dance
going.
recital. Sorry,
Yes.
you're going. This is important to them. You need to show,
That's
yeah,
right.
we're a team.
Yeah.
What advice would you give a parent struggling to connect with their teen? Did you have any seasons like that with your kids, and what'd you do?
That's funny. Yes. And again, it's just being persistent. The hardest one to connect with was my second. It was my daughter. And
Okay.
oh my gosh, it was really, really hard because she didn't like me. I mean, she just flat out did not like me. We fought, but don't try to always be their friend, even when they're not liking you and you want desperately for them to like you. You need to
Uh-huh.
stay their parent. And even if it means them hating you at the moment, you have to stay the parent. You have to stay the course. You have to stay and then do things with them that they like to do. Find whatever their hobby is. If it was shopping for her or whatever hobby she had, I would make myself get involved in that with her,
Right.
so
Whether you
they're
liked it or
you're
not. When did
yeah,
the
and not their
relationship
friend.
shift?
Don't be their friend. So
Right. When did it shift from her hating you to where now she loves you and wants to be a part of your life? Was it after those teenage years? Was it when she got
yeah,
married? What?
it was after her teenage years. It was after we kind of connected off and on, like maybe I say that she was the hardest one, but she was also the most loyal one. I mean, anytime I needed anything, Amanda was the first one there and the first one to
Right.
help. But I think when she went to college, and she
Mm-hmm.
went to West Palm Beach and I was living in Mount Dora, so we had a little bit of a distance between us. I think that was when we made some kind of shift, was college.
Okay.
Actually, I bought her a pillow for her dorm and it said, always my daughter, now to my friend. And so
Oh,
I think it was college. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And now you guys are doing our
Oh
partners
yeah,
in
now
crime.
she's my
Yeah,
bed.
that's right. Oh, that's so good. All right. So now that you have made it through the teen years and you've got adults, what do you love about parenting adults? And what do we have to look forward to?
I
Or what?
love parenting an adult. You're still a mom, just so you know. Anthony's 37, and I still get the mom call. So yeah, that doesn't go away. I love that now the ones that have children, both my boys have children, and that light bulb going on for them. And when they come back to me and say, I am so sorry. I finally get why you said this. Or I love when I hear them saying something that I used to say. And I'll look over at them like, oh, and they'll give me the look like, don't even say it. So I just love watching them be parents. I love seeing them as adults. I love now when they ask my advice, we can have open conversation. I will tell you though that now that they're adults, they tell me things about when they were teens, and I go, no, 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 let's go back to lying. I don't want to know.
La 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 la. Yeah.
I can't
Oh,
know.
that's
Wanna.
yeah. Just keep that. Keep it as in your little stash of mom doesn't need
Yeah.
to know that. Okay, so what is the book or books that you would recommend that a mom of teen or even just a mom in general what would you give what are those books that you give as a gift and why and or what are one of the three books that have greatly influenced your life?
I decided to narrow this down to one, and it's going to sound cliche, but it's the five love languages.
Five love languages.
And
Uh-huh.
I use that even now with my son-in-law, daughter-in-law, because we can spend so much time doing something for someone that's our love language and it's not their love language and feel like, oh my gosh, I do
Yeah.
everything I can and this kid never, it's never enough. Well, it's never enough because you're not doing the right thing. And, love languages change. So if it's words of affirmation or quality time or gifts or, physical touch, whatever it is. And I would randomly ask those questions of them. How do you feel loved? Like I didn't go into, so I'm reading the five languages of love because they'll shut you off right from there. But I'll just say to them,
Right.
and I use this with my grandchildren too. And I'll just say, what things do I do with or for you that make you feel the most loved or appreciated? And then they'll actually tell
Oh, I
me.
like that.
And then I will gear that when I want to make sure that they feel loved. And like I said, now they're married, and I asked my son-in-law and my daughter-in-law the same question. And my Aaron, Jessica's new husband, they were married a year, and his is acts of service. So every once in a while, I try to do something for Aaron, as an act of service, just so he feels
Yeah.
loved.
Right.
So
That's so
yeah,
and I know they have the five love languages for marriage, for teens, for
yeah.
kids. I need to the five love it's by Gary Chapman, isn't it? Gary Chapman, is
No,
that who it's by?
I don't even know.
Or
I can't even. It's been a
I
while.
don't know.
Even if you don't
I'll
get the
find it
book,
and I'll
even just list what the five love languages are, because sometimes people may not feel they have a lot of time to read or whatever. Just know what they are, and know they
yeah.
change. Like they change.
That's they are let's see, words of I'm gonna type them on here. Words of
Okay.
affirmation and
Physical touch,
uh physical touch. Yes, I'm gonna type
quality
that one.
time,
Physical touch. Three is quality time, and acts
gifts,
four is gifts,
and acts of love.
and acts of service
Service, acts
or
of service. Right.
service.
I had to think
Um,
about it.
one physical touch. Yes. Yeah, you need to know your love language. You need to know what your own love language is and then the love language of your kids as well and your spouse so that
Yeah.
you can speak in their language or otherwise it's like speaking Chinese. Okay,
Yeah.
so what bad parenting recommendations do you hear or see in your peers? Or have you heard along the way?
The worst one is we have parents that are enablers, enablers, enablers. They let their kids do whatever. They don't hold them accountable for anything. They don't do chores. They don't. And then they grow up to be young adults that live at home in their 20s, and their mom is still paying their car payments. Enabling. Don't enable. Um,
Do you
one
have do you have a book or recommendation like to read on how to not be such an enabler?
I need to write one because it is an epidemic. It really is. And, people think that they're loving their kids, but they're really not. And I will tell you a very quick, hard story. When
Mm-hmm.
Anthony was 17 and he was in high school and he was involved with drugs, and I said to him, if you bring drugs or drug people by this house around your siblings, I will throw
Mm-hmm.
you out. And he brought drug people to my house, and I took
Oh,
his keys from his car and threw all of his clothes. He was still in school. I threw all of his clothes out the front door and said, leave. And when I
oh
just
my
want to give
goodness.
you a
Probably the hardest.
visual, I had my daughter, Amanda, 13 months apart, yelling at me, what are you doing? Yelling from the top of the stairs. My 5-year-old son, Nathaniel, was screaming, don't throw my brother out. And Jessica, who was a year old, was just crying because everyone was crying. And I threw him
Yeah.
out. And I drove by him one day on the road, and he's very tall and he was extremely thin anyway. It didn't matter if he was thrown out. If he lived with me, he would have looked like that. And we were
Yeah.
driving down the road one day, and he was walking down the road. He had no shirt on, and he honestly looked like he was just skin and bones. And
Yeah.
Nathaniel, he's 5, he's in that little booster seat so he can see, and he's screaming, there's my brother, pick up my brother, get my brother. And I drove right by
Well,
him. And people will say, oh, you're so heartless. It was the best thing I ever did for him. And you need to love tough. Sometimes love is very, very
yeah.
tough. And really,
What
you're making it
does,
about you when you enable. You make it about you because you don't want to feel bad and you don't want to feel
sure.
sad. And you need
What
to
does
make it
he
about them.
remember about that time?
Interestingly enough, I asked him one time, why were you so selfish? I don't understand why you put
Yeah.
me through that. How did you do
Yeah.
that? And you know what his answer was to me? He said, you were never
Uh-uh.
in the equation.
Yeah.
And I'm
Isn't
like,
that the truth?
I was never, you were my entire equation. What do you mean I wasn't in the equation? He said,
Right.
I never even thought about you. I did what I wanted to do and when I wanted to do it. So there you
Wow.
have it, Mom.
Well, and just give these moms some hope. So tell about
Yeah.
how wonderful he is now.
Anthony is an amazing father. He
Mm-hmm.
got his license as a pastor. He leads our family in Bible studies. We used
Yeah.
to do Bible studies every single Friday night as a family, and he led them. His children are being raised in the Word. He is such a godly man, and I go to him now for a prayer request and
Wow.
spiritual insight. And he has completely turned his life. All of my children are in ministry. They're all
Right.
very involved with the Lord, and yeah.
So
But if you would
see,
have
there is
seen us
hope.
years ago, we would have been the
They've been
most
like
likely to succeed.
the poster child of do not
Yes,
do this life this way. Oh, but see,
yes,
there's hope. So like, I mean, because some of these
total
moms
hope.
that were in this and you're in the trenches of your kids are rebelling or running away or doing stupid.
Yeah,
And you wonder, are they going to turn out all right? So
they will.
there's hope for us
Pray,
all.
pray, 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 pray. Because God, I think He has a special line for moms. I really do. I think He has a special heart for moms. He saw Mary go through it. And I just think He has a tenderness for us. Don't ever stop. My
Right.
son went to jail. My son, when I tell you my kids were bad, they were bad. And the Lord
Uh-huh.
completely restored them. And I used to always say, God, you said, train up a child. You said, train up a
Yeah.
child. I'm training. So you
Right.
said, and I'm holding you to it.
Right.
And he is
Right.
faithful.
Oh, that's so good, Gina. I'm so glad that you
Yeah.
shared. All right, so one of my last questions is when you felt overwhelmed in those moments, I'm sure you had lots of those, and you
Yes.
wanted to throw in the towel with parenting your teens, what did you do? And you just answered that with prayer for sure. So, and what questions would you ask yourself?
And the other thing was sometimes, I would just get in my car and sit in a parking lot by myself. Sometimes you just need to step away from all of it, from your work, from your children, from your house, if you're married, from your husband, just all of it, and just get away physically, get away from it. And, I didn't have a lot of money, so it wasn't like I could go somewhere, but I would just sit in a parking lot in my car with no sounds and just breathe for a little while and cry. Sometimes you just
Right.
need to cry. And
Yeah.
so do that. And the questions I would really ask myself were, are you doing the best you can? Yes. Then
Right.
it's enough. And I even told
then
Anthony
it's
when
enough.
he became a father, he said to me, Mom, do you think I'm going to be a good dad? And I said, I'm going to tell you two things. As long as you always say I'm sorry when you mess up and always say I love you, everything else will work out. But
Ah, amen. That's so
there's your,
good. Yeah, I love that. It's true. I mean, kids need to hear us say, I'm sorry, I'm doing the
yeah,
best I can. I've never done this
right,
before, and
right.
forgive me for I mean, the other day, my kids were not answering their phone, and that's one of the rules is like, if I've gotten you a phone, you're going to answer the
Use
phone.
it.
And
Yeah.
I was running back and forth all around, and I only had like seconds to talk to them, and they didn't answer the phone. So then when I get back home, I'm like, why aren't you answering your phone? They're like, we were downstairs with dad and left the phone upstairs. And I'm like, I don't care. That phone is in your pocket all the time. I'm trying to help you, like,
Yeah.
but then later I'm like, I'm sorry, I was a jerk. I didn't need to overreact. I just
Right.
was running late and stressed out. And I'm like, I'm sorry, please forgive me for being a
Yeah.
turd.
Yeah.
And let's move on. So be quick to apologize, forgive, and
Yeah.
move on.
Yes.
Okay, Gena, if a mom wants to connect with you and learn more from your wisdom, how is the best way to connect with you? Is it phone, text messaging, email? Do you have like an email list for your website or anything like that?
You can just directly email me, and it's duran.gina@gmail.com. Or anytime
Gena,
you can message me on Facebook too.
okay. Duran.gina@gmail.com. I'm going to put that on here. And then I'll go back and I'll find your Facebook page for Gena's Jewels. Gena has a book. How many books do you have?
I have four.
You have four books. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to find the links for all those books because people need to hear your stories and the radical things that God has done and just all the lessons that God has shown you through the years. So
Yeah.
I will put the links to those books and where can they purchase them on Amazon or through your
Yeah, they
site
can go
or?
to Amazon, and Keeper of the Testimony is on Amazon, and that would be a good one because a lot of stories are in there.
Okay, Keeper of the Testimony. I'll find the links and I'll post them in here
Okay,
so that
great.
yeah, people need to read your story. So thank you, Gena. This was a lot of
You're
fun. I'm
welcome.
I'm totally gonna do Amnesty Night soon. I
Yes.
can't wait.
Be ready, though. Be ready.
I know. Lord help me. So, all right, Gena, thanks again. And thanks everybody for watching. And if you're watching the replay of this, just be sure to leave your comments or questions below and send Gena or I an email if you have questions. So thanks again, Gena.
Thank
See you
you.
soon. Bye.